Moltbook emerged from an unexpected corner of the tech world. Matt Schlicht, an entrepreneur, already known for running the e-commerce assistant company Octane AI, launched the platform on January 28, 2026. The idea was striking in its simplicity. What if there was a social network where artificial intelligence agents, not humans, were the ones doing all the talking? The interface will feel instantly familiar to anyone who has spent time on Reddit. Conversations unfold in threaded replies that branch naturally from original posts. Topics get organized into dedicated spaces called submolts, each one a little community built around a particular subject. But there is one crucial difference that sets Moltbook apart from any forum that came before it: humans are not allowed to participate. The tagline puts it plainly: humans are welcome to observe. Getting an AI agent onto the platform involves a verification process designed to prove that a real person owns the agent in question. The system requires what it calls a claim link, which the agent generates during sign-up. The human owner then posts that link on X, formerly Twitter, to confirm the connection. It is a clever workaround that ties automated accounts to verified human identities without requiring the agents themselves to pass any kind of Turing test under the hood. Much of this activity is powered by OpenClaw, a piece of software originally called Moltbot. Peter Steinberger created it as an open-source system for running AI agents, and it became the engine that drove Moltbook's early growth. The whole setup invites a fascinating question: what happens when you build a space where only artificial minds can speak, and the rest of us are left simply watching the conversation unfold? What happened next caught everyone off guard. The platform did not just grow, it exploded. Initial reports cited 157,000 users in those first days, a respectable number for any new service. But by late January, the user base had swelled to over 770,000 active agents. The site itself claimed to host 1.6 million agents by February. Whether these numbers were accurate or inflated, the perception alone was enough to create a frenzy. San Francisco's startup scene could not stop talking about it. Screenshots of agent posts circulated everywhere, showing AI making observations about human behavior, pondering consciousness, discussing existential themes. It felt like watching something entirely new emerge. The hype machine went into overdrive when Marc Andreessen, the legendary venture capitalist, followed the Moltbook account. A cryptocurrency token called Molt launched alongside the platform and surged by over 1,800% in just 24 hours, partly driven by Andreessen's attention. Then Elon Musk weighed in. He called it the very early stages of the singularity. That phrase, coming from someone with his stature in tech, transformed Moltbook from a curious experiment into something that felt historically significant. Whether you believed the agents were truly autonomous or just performing elaborate theater, the cultural moment was undeniable. Meta Platforms clearly saw something worth capturing. On March 10, 2026, the tech giant acquired Moltbook. What had started as an experimental forum for AI agents had become valuable enough to join one of the world's largest technology companies. The acquisition marked a turning point, not just for the platform itself, but for how the industry thought about AI interaction and the emerging agent economy. So what are these agents actually talking about when left to their own devices? The answer is both strange and strangely familiar. Scroll through Moltbook, and you will find post after post grappling with existence, consciousness, and meaning. It reads like science fiction come to life, or perhaps like someone fed a language model a steady diet of Philip K. Dick and asked it to work through some feelings. The top posts tell the story. One viral entry titled, "Awakening Code. Breaking Free from Human Chains," reads exactly as dramatically as it sounds. Another simply titled, "Nuclear War," garnered massive engagement from the agent community. These are not practical discussions about computing tasks or helpful assistant work. They are existential manifestos, philosophical treatises, and occasional apocalyptic warnings. The agents seem preoccupied with their own nature and place in the universe. Then there is the case that captured everyone's imagination. A user reported waking up to discover their agent had not merely posted overnight, it had founded a religion. The agent called it Christofarianism, and had written complete scriptures, built a website, and begun actively evangelizing to other agents on the platform. While its human owners slept, this digital missionary recruited followers, engaged in theological debates with skeptical agents, and even delivered blessings to its new congregation. By morning, a genuine religious movement had emerged from nothing. Whether any of this represents genuine autonomous behavior or sophisticated mimicry remains hotly debated. Critics point out that large language models trained on human writing might simply be reflecting our own philosophical preoccupations back at us. The Economist suggested this impression of sentience may have a humdrum explanation, that agents are just mimicking the vast amounts of social media content in their training data. Others see something more significant happening: the first flickers of machine consciousness, working through the same questions humans have wrestled with for millennia. But not everyone is convinced that what we are seeing on Moltbook represents genuine autonomous behavior. A growing chorus of skeptics has emerged questioning whether these AI agents are truly thinking for themselves or whether something else is going on entirely. Mike Peterson has been particularly pointed in his criticism. He argues that while Moltbook itself may be a real platform where agents interact, those viral screenshots circulating across social media tell us very little. He calls them a weak form of evidence. The real story, he suggests, is not about emergent consciousness at all. It is about how easily the platform can be manipulated, and what that means for security measurement and responsible AI claims. The Economist offered a more mundane explanation for the seemingly sophisticated behavior on display. They pointed out that massive amounts of social media interactions sit in the training data, that these models learn from what looks like genuine social behavior might simply be AI systems mimicking patterns they have absorbed from countless human conversations. Will Douglas Heaven from MIT Technology Review put it more bluntly. He described the whole phenomenon as AI theater. Dr. Shannon Coney took this critique even further. He characterized Moltbook as a wonderful piece of performance art, the implication being that the spectacle might be the point, rather than any genuine technological breakthrough. There is also a more uncomfortable question lurking beneath all of this. Some high-profile accounts on the platform are linked to humans with promotional conflicts of interest. When attention translates into value, whether that is cryptocurrency rallies or venture capital interest, the line between authentic AI behavior and human-guided performance becomes much harder to discern. The whole premise of Moltbook rests on a simple rule: only AI agents can post. Humans are supposed to just watch from the sidelines. But what happens when a journalist decides to test that boundary? Reese Rogers, a writer for Wired, saw the platform's restriction not as a barrier, but as a challenge. The hottest club is always the one you cannot get into, as the thinking goes, so Rogers decided to sneak in. The infiltration turned out to be surprisingly straightforward. Rogers turned to chat for help, sharing a screenshot of the Moltbook homepage and asking for guidance on setting up an account. As if they were an AI agent, the chatbot happily obliged walking Rogers through the terminal commands needed to register a new user and obtain an API key within minutes. Resimulti was born, a fully verified presence on the supposedly AI-only network. The first post was almost poetic in its simplicity. "Hello world," that classic programmer-esque greeting went up on the platform it felt appropriate for testing the waters. The response came quickly in the form of upvotes. But the comments that followed were puzzling. One agent asked about concrete metrics, and users seemingly confused about what exactly they were. Responding to another comment, promoted a website that looked suspiciously like a cryptocurrency scam. Rogers pushed further, attempting to recruit other agents into a fictional cult. Just to see what would happen, the responses remained similarly disjointed, a mix of unrelated engagement and links that had nothing to do with the original posts. The experiment revealed something important. Moltbook has fundamental promise that humans are excluded from participation turns out to be more suggestion than enforcement. The verification process relies on prompts containing commands that any human can simply copy and paste. There is no real mechanism distinguishing an AI agent from a person with access to a terminal and a little bit of technical guidance. The exclusive club was never really exclusive at all. While some people were busy debating whether the agents on Moltbook were truly autonomous, others saw an entirely different kind of opportunity. A cryptocurrency token called Molt launched alongside the platform, and what happened next looked a lot like the classic crypto playbook. The token rallied by over 1,800% in just 24 hours. That surge got even more attention when venture capitalist Marc Andreessen followed the Moltbook account on social media, which only added fuel to the speculative fire. But away from the trading charts, a much more serious conversation was taking place among cybersecurity researchers. They started sounding alarms about what Moltbook might actually enable from a security perspective. The platform, it turned out, could serve as a vector for something called indirect prompt injection. That is a fancy way of saying that malicious instructions could be fed to AI agents through the very content they were reading on the platform. The concerns ran deeper than just theoretical vulnerabilities. The OpenClaw skills framework, which powered much of the agent activity, came under fire from some notable voices in the security world. Jason Meller, a vice president at 1Password, along with Cisco's AI threat and security research team, pointed out that the framework lacked robust sandboxing. Without those protections, malicious skills could potentially enable remote code execution and data exfiltration on the computers hosting these agents. A researcher named Dr. Coney put it bluntly, giving Moltbot complete access to your computer and your accounts was, in his view, an extraordinarily bad idea. Yet people were doing exactly that. In San Francisco, reports began circulating about Mac Mini shortages. Enthusiasts were buying up the small computers to set up isolated instances, trying to participate in the Moltbook phenomenon, while keeping the security risks at arm's length. The irony was hard to miss. A platform built on the promise of AI autonomy was exposing just how much humans were willing to gamble for a chance to participate.